Welcome to the Bold Book of the Day with Dr. Denise Nicholson, a show that is a central hub and safe space for authors to share their stories. The Bold Book with Dr. Denise begins now.
Hello, welcome back to the Bold Book of the Day podcast. My name is Dr. Denise Nicholson, and this podcast is for anyone looking for inspiration. Today's guest is someone whose work is not just changing how little girls see themselves, it is changing who they will become. And that means a lot to me because I have a little granddaughter and one on the way. So Brenda Williams is a bold publishing author, and I'm so proud of the fact that she is also a best-selling author of the book Worthy and Wonderful, a celebration of girls who matter. Please welcome to the stage Brenda Williams.
Thank you, Dr. Denise. I'm so happy to be here.
Brenda, let's start with the heart of it all. Worthy and wonderful. That carries such a powerful message. Just the name, just to repeat those words, just have so much power. That's a girl's value. It's not something that she has to earn. It is something that she's already possessed. Where
Absolutely.
did that message come from for you?
That's such a great question. And you're absolutely right. It's not something she has to earn. So the idea for this book really came from my own journey. And the inspiration was my 4 beautiful granddaughters. You know, I know what it feels like to question your worth at times. And I really was thinking about something different for them. And I wanted them to really grow up grounded in who they are because I understood that struggle for myself. And I didn't want it to be, for them to grow up and feel like they're doubting themselves or wanting outside validation, if you will. So this Worthy and Wonderful was born from that desire to give them and girls everywhere a reminder early in life that you are worthy, you are wonderful, and that you matter. So this book is a love letter to my granddaughters and to girls everywhere. It's important for me to remind them of a truth. I believe, and you just said it, every girl deserves to hear that you are enough. And that word worthy is super powerful and it's yours to own. So that was really the inspiration behind this book.
Yeah, you describe this book as it's more than a book. You call it a tool to build self-worth early. As an author and a grandmother and someone who clearly is passionate about young girls, why do you believe it is so critical that we plant these seeds of confidence and worth during these early years rather than waiting until, the girls are older or teenager? Why is it so important to build the confidence early on?
Yeah, I think it's very important. Our identity is really shaped from the time, I think they say identity is shaped between the ages of 5 and 11. So that's why it's so critical to embed this thinking. When we're young, we already believe it, but we want to keep them in that space of confidence, self-worth, and believing in themselves. So I believe that if you start early with those messages as a constant, as a practice, and just and as adults, we have a responsibility to make sure our young girls and boys know that they are worthy. So in shaping their identity at that point, it is critical for us to keep that in front of them, for them to understand how powerful they are, how they can do anything they put their minds to. But that comes with confidence and belief and self-worth.
And it's for little girls and boys.
Boys too.
You want to affirm them early on. Yes.
Absolutely. I don't think we want to forget about our boys. Of course we don't. I think boys are brave and brilliant, and boys need to know that, and they should be empowered as well. So I'm glad you mentioned that because, I mentioned it because it is going to be a companion book. And I think it's just so critical for our girls and our boys growing up believing and knowing their worth.
Well, we live in a world where little girls are bombarded from a very young age with messages that tell them that they are not enough. And so, yes, I believe in empowering boys, but it's so important for girls to know that they're not just pretty, or they're not
Absolutely.
just, you know, not
An
pretty enough is
object.
not a thing, or they're not an object. Or, sometimes when they start getting older, people want them to be very thin, and not thin enough, and not smart enough, and they start putting them in these categories. And so I believe that your Worthy and Wonderful book is giving them the beginning stages of how to fight back.
Absolutely, because beauty is within,
Yeah.
right? When you're growing up, if you are affirmed that your beauty starts from within because you know your worth, you know your value, you have self-belief, the outside will shine on its own. It does not need to be reinforced by these outside images. You already know you're beautiful. That's why I think it's super important to start early. My granddaughters, they come in all different shades and sizes, and I tell them all they are beautiful. And they know that today, they'll know that tomorrow, and they'll know that always. And to me, that's the key to life, knowing that your beauty starts within, because it's tied to who you are. And who you are should be something that you are happy to share with the world.
You describe this book as a celebration, a celebration of girls who matter. Who are the girls in this book? I know who they are, but I want you to tell the audience, who are the girls in this
Yeah.
book?
Girls are joyful. I'm joyful. This book is joyful. And this book, as I mentioned earlier, is inspired by my four granddaughters, but they're representing girls everywhere. So
Yes.
this book follows four young friends who uplift one each other, and they remind themselves of how kind they are and how they should speak to other children, explore their dreams, and build confidence. So, because they're doing that with each other, this book shows them and families how meaningful it is when you can empower each other. And so, I celebrate girls because I'm celebrating the joy that comes with being a girl. So every time I talk to my granddaughters, that's what they bring to me. They bring joy to me. So I bring joy right back to them. And
Yeah.
so this book really has a way of, it's interactive, and it gives the girls an opportunity to practice writing and affirming themselves. I am worthy. I am wonderful. I matter. And if you keep telling yourself that, you're going to believe it. So
Yes.
that's the celebration of it. That's the joy of it.
Tell us about your story. What brought you to this place where you are, full of so much confidence?
Yeah. Yeah. When I was a little girl, I was a dreamer. I'm still a dreamer as a big girl. And, I always believed through my parents that I can do anything that I wanted to do. I had two brothers. I was sandwiched between two brothers. I was a middle child. And, there were times when I felt I had to be super competitive and athletic because my brothers were. And so I was. But there was also a time when I almost felt, or I did feel, I should say, like I wasn't being heard because
Mm.
I had these two brothers, because I didn't think my voice mattered. And so I struggled for a period of time there when I was younger with sort of these limiting beliefs, if you will, that I wasn't enough, or really that my voice wasn't being heard. So it's so funny because I almost feel like I took matters into my own hands, because I started very early with empowering myself just based on what I was hearing. Of course, I would hear my parents and other people say, particularly mentors throughout my life, that I was worthy, I was all these things. But you have to believe it. So I started to write it down. Anyone who knows me till this day, I have affirmations still all over. Affirmations are so important and key to my life. Just keeping in front of me what I know for sure and never lose sight of that. So that confidence started early on. It kind of left for a minute, but it came back. And when it came back strong because it came back as a practice. I
Yeah.
practice every day looking in the mirror, telling myself that I am beautiful, I am smart, and I can do all things. And I also know I'm a child of God. And so my journey has really been with lots of encouragement, with lots of mentors, with believing in myself and then helping others. I think when you help others, there's a gift that comes back to you. And I'm such a giver that I feel like because I give, it comes back to me tenfold. And that makes me feel even more passionate and purposeful.
Your book is a bestseller. Tell me what it felt like for you when you first held that book in your hand.
My gosh, it felt amazing. It's a feeling that I have never felt before. I've had other feelings, grandchildren, my own children, being married, all those feelings in life, promotions, all those things. But having that book in my hand, opening the box, let's start there. Opening up the box was such an incredible feeling that I felt from like the bottom of my feet all the way to the top of my head. It was such a joyful moment of accomplishment because I set out to write this book. I didn't know it would be a children's book, but once I figured out that this inspiration was coming from my granddaughters, this was going to be the book, it felt amazing to open that book up and then to know that I became a best-selling author with the way the people supported the book, the galvanization
Mhm.
that happened around the book,
Yes.
and the fact that people read it and love it and can apply it. And it's not just for girls, it reminds adults, it reminds all of us of our
Yes.
true worth. So it was such an incredible experience, Denise.
I remember getting your video and I was screaming too because I believe in that video your mother was on the phone and I as a mother was just overjoyed to that you were able to share that experience with her. How does your mother feel now?
My mother is incredibly proud of me. She's always been, but she is even more. And she, one of the things she always says to me is, "Oh gosh, I always knew. I always knew." And I was always a doer. I always knew I can accomplish things. So that's why she felt confident and knew. And so she's super proud of me. Super proud.
Parents, grandparents, teachers, and mentors. Those are the ones that are going to be the ones putting this book into our children's hands or into children's hands. What do you hope will happen in the room once an adult reads Worthy and Wonderful to a little girl?
I hope they will see the value in the book and how
Mm,
important it is to continue the work they do as teachers, as caretakers, as mothers, as parents, that it is so critically important to empower your young girl now while she's young. Let her know how proud you are of her. Let her know that her voice matters in every room, not just in some, in every room. I think that as an adult, it's our responsibility to bring up confident, like young girls who believe in themselves. They are our future. They're the future leaders. They are the future us. So it's our responsibility. And so far, that message has been planted. I've been getting such great response from teachers all over. As I read this book in classrooms, the teachers are so grateful to me for giving them yet another tool to use in their classrooms to
yes.
speak directly to the kids with illustrations that are beautiful, with illustrations that look like them.
Yes.
So my granddaughters are, representative of the young Black and brown girls who are out there and for all shades of girls. And so I believe my book is an instrument that will empower them to use this book to have the right words, and I know they have them already, but it reinforces them, that confidence, self-worth, valuing your importance, that you are worthy, wonderful, and that you matter is very important. So I strongly believe that.
You've done such a wonderful job writing this book and bringing it out. What was the process like for you to write the book?
It was an interesting process because I mentioned this a little few minutes ago. I didn't know exactly what I wanted to write, but I knew I
Mhm.
wanted to write. I believe in legacy. I
Yes.
believe that I want to leave something for my family, for my children, my grandchildren. And because my grandchildren are so inspirational to me, once I decided upon writing the children's book, the process became, okay, what am I going to write about? How do I get the message to them in a clear and concise way? Because you don't want to put too many words on the pages. You don't
Right.
want to mix messages. So that process was, make sure you are writing things that they can understand, that they
Yes.
can interpret. And then I was hell bent on finding a great illustrator. So I set out to find an illustrator who was emerging. I wanted someone who was just beginning. Unfortunately for me, I had friends whose daughter had just recently graduated. She's a Spelman alum, and she's
Oh,
an illustrator who's getting ready to graduate in a couple of weeks from Savannah College of Art and Design with her master's with a concentration in illustration. She captured my vision perfectly. And so that was super important, as well as finding a publisher. I knew I wanted to self publish, and Bold Publishing
woohoo!
there for me. So that became part of the process too, because
Yeah.
you don't know. I didn't know what to do. So,
Yeah.
Dr. Denise, I was grateful for Bold Publishing to walk me through this process, to get me to understand every step of the way, the editing, making sure the formatting was done. So that process became a process. And it was one that it was a
Yes.
journey that I enjoyed, and one that now allows me to write this next book, because this is a book that's a series
It's a
of five.
series.
These
Yes.
girls are going to come off the pages. So the process was one that was very thoughtful. It was concentrating on young girls understanding it, and so that they can digest it and they can use the words. So it's fairly simple. It's affirmations. I am worthy. I am wonderful. That's easy for them to remember.
Yeah.
So that was the process, to make it so that they could understand it.
And you know what I've learned? I've learned that when things are in rhymes, it is easier for people to understand, and it sounds more true because it's
Absolutely.
easier for them to understand. So because it rhymes and it's easy for them to understand, they start to believe it. I also want to make a point of saying how incredible it was for you to affirm another young woman while you are doing this, building her confidence when she is on the verge of graduating and stepping into a new career. You are affirming her by giving her the opportunity to do the illustrations for this book, and what an amazing job she did.
Well, that's what I do. Uplift others. I build others. I pour into others. I've been doing that my entire career. And so you're absolutely right. It gave me so much joy to be able to hire an illustrator. Like, I gave her her first real
Yes.
illustration project. She can
Yes.
use this to be a sample of her work. And it's a beautiful piece of work, if I must say so myself.
Oh
And
my
so
goodness.
I'm happy to be able to say I did that. It speaks to the mentor that I am and that
Yeah.
I've always been. So I continue to do that work. So thank you for pointing that out.
Yeah, because you don't just talk the talk and write the book because you believe in your girls and affirming your girls. You believe in affirming young people and especially young women. So I
Yes,
couldn't pass
yes,
that because that was
yes.
touching
I
for me, and I
appreciate
knew
that.
how important it was for you to have her do this project. I remember how
Yeah,
it was going to take more time, and you said, "No, I don't care. It's going to take more
that's right.
time."
That's exactly right, Denise. You remember that, and you're absolutely right. Yeah.
Yes. Do you have any tips for someone who has a dream of writing a children's book, but they just don't know what to do. They don't know where to start. They don't know how to do it. You did it. Do you have any tips?
Yeah. So I think my tip starts with believing in yourself. I think you always got to start there. So
Mm,
go inward, figure out what you want to do.
mm,
My passion and my purpose. So my purpose has been formed and it has grown over the years. And that's where the passion comes from. So my tip is understand what's guiding you. And if it's purposeful, if it's meaningful, then what comes out on those pages is going to show up. So start inside. You are always a work in progress. You are always something you want to shine up, make sure
mhm.
you got it right. And when you believe that internally, then I think the process of writing will come naturally. But believe that's what you're here to do. And I think the other tip that goes along with that is you have a message. And I knew I wanted to get this message out there
Yeah.
that young girls, you are so worthy and wonderful and that you matter. And that is such an important factor. And so the tip is make sure it's something people can relate to. It
Yeah.
means a lot to you. And then it's easy for you to convey that to others.
And one of the things that I love about your book is that it it's a tip in itself. Like, I did it. I finished my one career and then I moved on to another career as an author. That I believe is a bold move. You know, you're an example
I
for
appreciate
anyone
that.
out there. Yes, you're an example
I
for anyone out
appreciate
there who
that.
think that, okay, I'm at the end of one chapter in my life. There's another chapter out there.
Absolutely. And that was my intention, to see what was the next chapter, to explore it in its beauty. When I retired, I had intention. I knew what I wanted to do: start a business, write a book, keep writing. I am still living on purpose. And so this next chapter journey has been probably one of the most beautiful parts of my life. And I want others to see that you can still shine and glow. And it's all coming from who I am as a person. I don't need the glory. I just know that this is what I want to do. And this is what I want to give to others.
You said before that you were published by Bold Publishing. And I know, because I'm the CEO and founder of Bold Publishing, that Bold Publishing authors are exceptional. Because one of the reasons that make you guys so exceptional is because you make bold moves. What is one of the bold moves you were able to make after writing this book?
Oh, gosh. I'm going to take Worthy and Wonderful and build it into a global movement. That's a
Ooh,
bold move for me. One
wow.
that reaches classrooms, boardrooms, communities around the world. I really, really feel that this message is a powerful one. I want girls and leaders and teachers and everyone to know and not question their value. So the bold move for me is make it global, make it a movement. That's
Yeah.
bold.
Yes. You recently just came back from Paris with, Bold Publishing. Tell us about that adventure and what that looked like for you and the dreams that you have for your book.
Wow. I'm glad you brought that up. Paris trip was one that I won't forget. I am grateful for the invitation, Dr. Denise. I have so much gratitude for what I got from that trip. It wasn't a very long trip, but it was a very impactful trip. The
Mm,
trip itself, being in the intimate setting of other women like myself. So the
yes,
like mindedness,
yes,
the graciousness, the opportunity to learn more and grow.
yes.
Uh, I knew when I got there, it was going to be something special, and it was. But I knew for sure when I left there that this was going to be exactly what I needed to propel me forward in building the movement that I want to build, in helping me to get on stages and boldly present my story and myself to others to help them. That trip solidified that Brenda Williams is going to be a speaker, is an author, which I am already, but the solidification that came with that, if that's the word. It was just being in a room with you, Dr. Denise, watching you on stage, watching someone for the first time hit the stage and seeing the beauty of that, having an AOB leading such a powerful session
Yes.
where I could not stop taking copious notes
I
because
saw you.
everything mattered. And you know how important it is for me to digest that stuff and get that. And I think writing it down, which is also
Mhm.
something that I think is so great and cathartic about writing, when you put it on paper. So I put down what was said by Ine, you, and others, and I referred to those things. So it was a very powerful experience that I won't forget.
It's part of the celebration. You said that your subtitle says a celebration of girls who matter. And I believe that it was such a celebration for us to be together, to hang out, to have lunch together, to do the perfume making
Oh
together.
God, it
It
was
was
amazing.
such a celebration.
Of women who mattered, of women
Yes,
who
or
understood
worthy and
power.
wonderful.
And they
Yes,
understood the power of connection, right? Because that's
yes.
important too. And alignment. There was so much alignment, so much. You're absolutely right. I love being in spaces like that because it makes you feel even more powerful. I have to say, I think we all want to know what our superpower is. I think you understand your superpower. It's bold. It's
Oh,
boldness into others. My
oh,
superpower is worthiness, understanding that. So when you understand your superpower, you can now go throughout your life delivering that. And that's exactly what you do. And I love seeing that example. And I'm doing it myself. So thank you.
thank you. I love that. You see me as putting boldness into others. I
Absolutely.
love that. So, one of the things that I like to do is to just show people their possibilities. And some people will take it and some people won't. You're one of those people that I knew you were going to take it because I could feel your energy, and I don't just invite everyone to travel with me. So that invitation was special because I felt your energy and I saw the kind of woman that you were while I was working with you to get this book out. So it meant so much to me to have you there. But you were such a bold person on that trip. I believe I fell in love with you while I was there. I
Oh,
enjoyed working with you, but
oh.
it was in that setting, in that environment. I was like, oh my God, I love
I
this woman.
I was saying exactly the same thing. I can remember when we were making the perfume, right? And
Mhm.
you were sitting right next to me to my left.
Mhm.
There was just such a strong connection between us as we were coming up with our scents. We were saying things to each other, and we were like, oh my God, I love this. I'm gonna put this
I
in.
guess what you said.
You know,
Yeah.
so I agree with you. I fell in love with you as well. I knew from the moment I met you, I was like, "Ooh, this is going to be great." I have to thank the person who referred you because it was love at
Oh,
first sight.
yeah.
It was love at hello. And so
Oh,
going to Paris with you and having that type of intimacy and to be in your space and to be able to enjoy you from seeing and feeling the joy that's coming off of you, that was it for me. So I have to say, I felt exactly the same way. It was a powerful, powerful shift for me in terms of, wow, this is the kind of thing I want, and I want more of it.
yes. Thank you. Thank you. We had a wonderful time, and I'm
We
looking
really did.
forward to spending more quality time together in in our tribe, in our Bold
Yeah.
Authors tribe. You said that this book is a tool for building self worth early so girls grow into leaders who never question their value. Who are some of the leaders that you were that you admire and helped you to become the woman you are today?
Yeah, that's a good question. I am fortunate to have had some great mentors in my life. It started very early on. I understood the power of mentorship. It started with my parents. My father, he built me solid. It was his desire for me to know what my purpose was. My
Yeah.
mother continuously pours into me still to this day, reinforcing different values. But my choices of mentors through the year, interesting enough, I started out in the financial with a financial career, and my first three mentors were three white men. And guess what? I learned so much from those men. At that time when I was working, and this was many years ago,
Uh-huh.
I didn't have the representation that you have today, where I can
Yes.
go to women leaders, which I do. But
Yes.
back then, it was mainly men and it was mainly white men. So guess what? I can learn. I can learn certain things from them. And I
Hmm.
took that knowledge and I built my career based on some of those things. But it also reinforced to me that I needed other leaders in my life. So,
Yes.
oh my gosh, between the celebrity leaders, of course, Michelle Obama and
Ooh.
Oprah and Maya Angelou, and like people, writers like that, Toni Morrison, right? Audre Lorde. Those are people that I keep close to me, their books, their information. But then I have other people I worked with, Kenya Young, Audrey Cooper. Like these are women who exudes leadership. I watched them in action. I can go back to my earlier days. Women were always, I'm all about girl power. So
Yeah.
women are really important to my life's journey. And so I would say that women leaders is what made me, I love women. I love
Yeah.
girls. I love
Yeah.
being a woman. I love being the girl that I was. My journey was my journey. Everyone has their own. So women leadership, critical. My pastor said to me a while ago, he was also a mentor of mine. He said, you need four mentors in your life. You need a spiritual mentor. You need
Hmm.
a career mentor. You need someone older because they're wise and they can offer
Hmm.
their wisdom. And you need someone younger because they keep you abreast as to what's going on. And that's what my four granddaughters do for me and my children. They just keep me on top of things. So leadership, mentorship, very important to my life, and women especially.
It's so beautiful to have your grandchildren and to play this role of grandmother. I know it was a wonderful feeling to have to be a mother, but boy, the difference when you're a grandmother. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I know people always say, oh, when you're the grandparent, you can always give them back. Well, for me, I can't wait to see them. I
Yes.
can't wait to see the curiosity because they
Mhm.
are so curious. What comes
Nice.
out of the mouths of babes,
Mm,
the
mm,
stuff
mm.
these young people are learning today. I mean, everything is not good, but most of it, for them to be as bright, as intelligent, as able to articulate. My granddaughters are all very special to me. They all started reading very early. They are all very articulate with expressing themselves. The twins are so very different. They're fraternal and they're very different. They express themselves differently. So the joy that comes with having them run into my house, jump into my arms, it's everything. It is
Oh my
absolutely.
goodness.
And my older granddaughter, what's so special about her now is she's growing into this younger woman. She's
Mm,
22, and so
mhm.
now we have this relationship where it really is about adulthood. It is
Yes.
about her transforming into this lovely, beautiful adult.
Yeah.
And she calls on me for the little advice that she can get. And sometimes just to listen.
Yeah.
Mimi, don't talk. I just need you to listen.
Oh, that's
And that's
beautiful.
quite special too. That is very special.
The joy of being a grandmother
Yeah.
for
And I know
all the different roles.
congratulations. Yeah, congratulations to you on your second grandchild. It's going to be special.
Thank you. This is gonna be my third.
Oh, your third. Okay.
Oh
Well,
my
wonderful.
goodness,
You're
I'm a
catching
veteran
up.
now.
Yes. And as you know, it is a blessing to be
Yeah.
not only to be a grandparent, but to live, to be able to be in their life, right?
Yes.
Because it's one thing for them to
Mhm.
have their parents, it's
Yeah.
another thing for them to have. In my family, there's four generations. So they even have a great grandmother because my mother is
Yes.
still around. So
So
that is
beautiful.
a blessing and a beauty in itself. Absolutely.
I was raised by my grandmother and my great grandmother at some point in
Oh,
my life.
okay.
And I
Okay.
must tell you, my grandmother was loving and kind and giving, but my great grandmother, she had the time, honey, so she spoiled me.
Yes. My grandmother was everything to me. I mean, she was
Yes.
my world. I didn't know my great grandmother, but I knew my grandmother, and she was everything to me. I miss her every day, and she's been gone a long time, but that woman made such an impact on my life. And maybe that's why it's so important for me to make that same impact on my grandchildren's life. Because, as a mother, you got to teach your kids constantly. You got to always build that foundation with them. You want them to be able to fly into the world and do what they do. But with grandchildren, you have a different role. They have their parents.
Yes.
Your role is, yes, this is like, come on in, let's have fun, let's learn, let's do things that you can't really do with your parents
That's right.
because they're busy. They got stuff going on. I make room and space for them.
I do my grandson's hair every 2 weeks, and he didn't know I spent 23 years as a hairstylist, so
Wow.
he didn't know that. And one day he was talking to my sister-in-law while I was doing his hair, and he said, "Grandma can legit do hair." She was like, "Boy, I should tell
You
you."
don't know.
But his mother was saying, "Yeah, oh, no, didn't do this, and he didn't do that." So I told him, if he doesn't do these things, you're not going to do his hair anymore. And I was like,
You
uh-uh,
love doing that, right? You love that.
that's a joy for me. So that's not even on, nope,
Absolutely.
that's not even up for debate.
Right, right. And that is the beauty. It's not only a joy for them, it's a
It's a
joy for
joy.
us.
Yes.
I totally get that. I totally get that.
Where
Yes.
can we find Worthy and Wonderful?
You can find my book everywhere books are sold, but especially on my website,
Yes.
brendawilliamsbooks.com. Of course, as I said, Amazon, Barnes and Nobles. But if you buy it from my website, I can send you a signed copy. That would be especially for you. That's where you can find my books. And you can, catch me on social at brenda.empowers.
Beautiful. Brenda, thank you so much for coming. There are three questions that I love to ask my guests before they go, so you're not going to get away from them.
Okay. Okay.
What's one bold promise that you can share with the audience?
So, my bold promise is simple. I will always remind you of what the world may have made you forget. And
Mm,
that is, you are worthy, you are wonderful, and you matter. And when you truly believe that, you don't just change your life, you change every space you walk into.
I believe that. Thank you so much for writing this book. Oh, what's a bold statement that you can share with the audience that may cause a paradigm shift?
Yeah. So you don't become worthy. You just need to remember that you are already worthy. You don't
Yes.
become it, you don't earn it. So when we stop trying to when we stop tying our worth to performance,
Yeah.
approval, or achievement, right? We
Yeah.
free ourselves to lead, live, and show up with authenticity
Yeah.
and power. So just believe it. That's the shift. The shift is you don't become it, you are it. That's the shift.
So I know that you are getting ready to do some bold things next year because we talked about it recently. But
Yeah.
I would love for you to share with the audience that one bold move that you'd like to make in the future.
Yeah, I did mention it earlier and I'll say it again. I want to build a worthy and wonderful global movement.
Woohoo! Yes.
That's it. That's what I want to
Yes.
do.
Yeah.
I
And
want it
you
to become a standard, not a surprise.
And guys, this is going to be an annual part of this is going to be
Yeah.
an annual in-person meetup for girls. I'm so excited about that.
Yes.
I've already been thinking about it and what it's going
No,
to
I can't
look like.
wait.
I'm
I
so
know, and I
excited.
cannot wait to have you in front of these young girls so they can see what it means to be bold, but not just bold, but a bold, beautiful Black woman who knows her worth, who is super kind, who is generous, see, compassionate, all those things, who is gracious, who knows that she has faith and she can do that. I cannot wait for you to be in front of these young women. That is going to be an annual event that will get bigger and bigger every year. So I thank you, Denise, for
You're
saying
so
yes
amazing.
already to
But
my
you're
dream,
I had to.
to my dream.
It's such a big deal to be able to pour into women and young girls especially,
Yes,
and to start
yes,
early and to let them see that you didn't have to earn it. I love it.
absolutely. I
I
do
I
too. Thank
You're
you.
amazing. Thank you.
Thank you,
Um,
Dr. Denise. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
so Brenda, you know where you can get this book. Brenda Williams, thank you, my friend, for saying yes. Thank you so much
Yeah,
for joining us on the Bold Book of the Day podcast. Worthy and Wonderful, a celebration of girls who matter, is available now. You can get it on her website. You can get it on Amazon, on Barnes and Noble. It's on 40,000 different stores. You can get it. So please
yes.
go out there and support our authors.
Thank
And
you.
whether you have a daughter or a granddaughter or a niece or a student or a little girl in your life, get this book. Read it to her. Read it with love and let her
Absolutely.
know what Brenda has already written on every page, that she is worthy, she is wonderful, and she already has everything she
She
needs.
needs. Absolutely. Thank you, Dr. Janice, for this opportunity to be in front of your audience and to talk about what I'm so passionate about. I appreciate it. Thank
You're
you.
welcome. And please come back again because I know this is series and there will be another
Okay.
one coming out next year, guys. So please come back again. And
I
if
appreciate it.
you are listening and you are writing a book, but you feel stuck or overwhelmed, or you just don't know what to do next, please send me an email to authordnicholson@gmail.com. We will help you get your book idea out of your head and onto paper. We have a writing class that meets every Wednesday and every Sunday. And in this class, we just help you to clarify what to do and what next to do so that it's easier for
Absolutely.
you to get your book out there. All right. Thank you for joining, and please come back next time. Subscribe.
Thank you for joining us for the Bold Book of the Day with Dr. Denise Nicholson, a central hub and a safe space for authors to share their stories. Follow Dr. Denise on Facebook and Instagram at Denise Nicholson, or go to denisenicholson.com. Remember, no one can share your story better than you.